Good, happy Sunday afternoon, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Sunday edition of Politics with Riley King. You know, it's Sunday when we do this edition of Politics with Riley King. Let's begin this Sunday edition of Politics with Riley King. Hopefully you're all having a great Sunday. My Sunday's going good, and let's get started. We have a lot of political news for this Sunday to give to you. Devos visits to Bedford school canceled after faculty member tests positive for COVID-19. Education Commission Secretary visits Riddlebrook Elementary School as planned. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, and she was visiting on September 18th.
Protect your home and family for years to come with a new roof from Queen City Roofing. The entire crew takes pride in giving the best customer service.
U.S. Secretary of Education Betsy Devos making a trip to Bedford's Riddlebrook Elementary to meet with school district leaders, teachers, and families to discuss reopening during COVID-19.
It is really encouraging to hear about how they worked nonstop since the schools closed down in March to be back to where we are today, where kids are in the classroom.
Devos has pushed for school districts across America to fully reopen with in-person learning and threatened to pull federal funding from those that don't, supporting school choice options instead.
There's more evidence today than 6 months ago even that giving families and parents and children more choices about what their education looks like is an even greater imperative.
The Bedford School District reopened for the fall using a hybrid model of in-class and at-home learning, but families can opt to be fully remote. It has also already dealt with multiple confirmed cases of coronavirus among the school community, including another announced this morning at McKelvey Intermediate, hours before DeVos was set to visit there.
As of right now, we have at least one faculty member out. We do have some students quarantining.
The Bedford superintendent deciding to cancel DeVos's trip to McKelvey because of the positive case. The union representing teachers statewide, which has pushed for a phased reopening, calling that decision ironic.
That's not right. If it's not safe enough for the Secretary of Education of the United States to be there, the staff and students shouldn't be there either.
So in a note to families this afternoon, the superintendent said that so far contact tracing has revealed that 3 staffers and 2 students have been impacted by the newly confirmed case of the virus, but he tells me he believes that the overall spread will be limited in scope due to their mitigation measures. Reporting live tonight, Tyler Dumont, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire House Speaker apologizes to UNH after some reps drink beer in hall. Other reps don't wear masks. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Chapel Tractor has been in our family since 1955, when great-grandfather Curly and our grandfather George decided to sell tractors out of their barn.
New Hampshire's House Speaker is apologizing to UNH leadership this morning for the behavior of some lawmakers after this week's session. In order to follow COVID-19 distancing, the House of Representatives has been meeting at the university's Whittemore Center. But Speaker Steve Shurtleff says that he learned that some reps followed Wednesday's meeting by drinking beer in the hall. He also says that others were also outside that center without masks, which violates both UNH and town ordinances. In a letter, the Speaker apologized for the breach of protocol and thanked the school for sharing its facilities.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Eric Trump makes appearance in New Hampshire, Maine on Father's behalf. That was on September 18th. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Protect your home and family for years to come with a new roof from Queen City Roofing. The entire crew takes pride in giving the best customer service.
We know more now about Vice President Mike Pence's planned rally next week. It will take place Tuesday in Guilford. Meantime, surrogates for the presidential candidates continued to make their way around New Hampshire yesterday. Eric Trump held an event in Portsmouth for his father's re-election campaign. And we have learned that lawyers for Eric Trump say that he is willing to be deposed by the New York Attorney General's office, but only after the election. Trump says that he is willing to answer questions in an investigation into the Trump Organization. The case involves claims from the president's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, who says that the organization inflated or deflated financial filings to reduce potential taxes.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. First Lady Melania Trump visit Concord Hospital to discuss treatments for opioid-dependent newborns. First Lady joined by ONDCP director at event. That was earlier on in the week. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Strict attention to detail. That's what sets Kubota construction equipment apart. It's how we maximize performance, increase...
First Lady Melania Trump got a first-hand look at how Concord Hospital cares for newborns who have been exposed to opioids.
Every 15 minutes, another child is born with NAS, dependent on opioids and facing a fragile future without medical help.
In her time as First Lady, Mrs. Trump has traveled across the country to witness the devastating effects of drug abuse. She created the Be Best initiative to combat opioid use and to create a safer world for children.
Sadly, as we see today, there are also pregnant mothers who are struggling to escape the grip of addiction, as well as innocent newborns, babies impacted by drug exposure.
Jim Carroll, the director of the National Drug Control Policy, says he was touched when he met one of the mothers in this program.
What amazing courage she has to be able to come forward and ask for help.
Concord Hospital relies on an eat, sleep, and console approach to wean babies from addictive drugs with the help of cuddling. The goal is to use minimal or no medication.
We recognize addiction is a disease, and we educate and support our clinical teams to show compassion in the same way we would any other condition.
Mrs. Trump also spoke to firefighters right here in Manchester about the work they're doing to deal with drug overdoses on a daily basis. Reporting live in Manchester, Kristen Carosa, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. LGBTQ advocacy group Human Rights Campaign endorses Kuster for re-election. The Human Rights Campaign, a nationwide advocacy and political group promoting the rights of the LGBTQ community, has endorsed U.S. Rep. Annie Kuster in her bid for a fifth term representing the state's 2nd Congressional District. New Hampshire lawmakers fail to override more than 20 Sununu vetoes. New Hampshire House, Senate failed to override any bill vetoes by a 2/3 majority. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Protect your home and family for years to come with a new roof from Queen City Roofing. The entire crew takes pride in giving the best customer service. Excellent.
The New Hampshire Hampshire House came up short in its efforts to override close to 24 of Governor Sununu's vetoes on Wednesday. Representatives voted on 22 bills, including a minimum wage increase, an independent redistricting commission for the state's political maps, and paid family medical leave. All were bills the Democratic majorities tried and failed to get over the top both this year and last year, but Republicans held firm, and there were not enough votes to override any of those vetoes.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Trump, Republican, on rapid pace to fill Supreme Court justice seat. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
We begin here with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the political battle now over replacing her on the Supreme Court and what it means for the presidential campaign. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo ordered state landmarks to be lit in blue in honor of her. Time magazine releasing a special commemorative cover featuring the late justice. And overnight, this vigil where Senator Elizabeth Warren led the crowd in a chant of "I will fight" to support Ginsburg's stances on Dreamers and affordable care. ABC's Rachel Scott is joining us now from outside the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. with the very latest. Rachel, good morning.
Whit, good morning. There is a sense of grief and anticipation playing out here in Washington. Outside the Supreme Court, a growing memorial as so many grapple with the loss of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The president, though, is pressing forward, announcing he will nominate a woman in the coming days to fill her seat. Overnight, hundreds flooding the Supreme Court to honor Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg is one of my heroes.
Moment of silence in the shadow of the U.S. Capitol, where a fierce political battle over her replacement is heating up. Less than 45 days out from Election Day, President Trump racing forward, urging Senate Republicans to fill the seat without delay.
I think the process can go very, very fast.
We learned Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has already spoken to the president about the next steps, promising his nominee will receive a vote on the Senate floor. And the president is now narrowing down his choices, telling his supporters in North Carolina he will nominate a woman.
I will be putting forth a nominee next week. It will be a woman.
Sources tell us 3 female judges are on his shortlist, with conservative judge Amy Coney Barrett emerging as an early frontrunner. In 2017, the devout Catholic was pressed by Democrats about her stance on Roe v. Wade during her confirmation hearing to serve on the federal bench.
The dogma lives loudly within you, and that's of concern.
It's never appropriate for a judge to impose that judge's personal convictions, whether they derive from faith or anywhere else, on the law.
But not every Republican is on board with that speedy timeline. One of them, Senator Susan Collins. In a statement, she said, "I do not believe the Senate should vote on the nominee prior to the election." Democrats agree.
Let me be clear that the voters should pick the president, and the president should pick the justice for the Senate to consider.
Republicans can only afford to lose 3 votes, and a small group of moderate and vulnerable senators could split from their party to stop it.
Now then we have some senators that, well, forget it. We think of it. I won't say it. I won't say it, Susan. I won't say it, Susan.
A day of mourning quickly turned political, less than 24 hours after Ginsburg's death. Spotlighting the divide in America.
I think us being here sends a message, not just to honor her, but to really send a message to the GOP saying, we are here as people to stand with her.
Protesters lining the streets outside McConnell's home demanding a Senate vote be delayed. The vacancy injecting a new sense of urgency into an already chaotic and divisive election year. And Republicans will now have to figure out if they have enough votes in the Senate to confirm that nominee by Election Day. But it would have to move at a rapid pace. On average, it takes about 70 days for a nomination to get through the Senate, and we are less than 45 days out from Election Day. Eva?
Rachel Scott for us there at the Supreme Court.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And thank you for joining us for this Sunday afternoon edition of Politics with Riley King. I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday afternoon. I'll see you back here next time for another edition of Politics with Riley King. And have a great week ahead of you, everyone. And goodbye.